Hey guys, how's it going? This is Carlos, your host of the Just Fans podcast. Joining me tonight is the man that requires all the translation in the world. Let him know what's up, Papi. How's it going?
Marico, estoy aquí tratando de meterme en la cuenta esta verga esta de Finity, marico, para el jueves no me deja hacer nada, huevón.
Uh-huh.
Sir,
All that.
what language is that?
Turn your SAP buttons on, ladies and gentlemen, in order to understand what he's talking about.
The first version of Latin.
Exactly. And of
How's it
course,
going, everybody?
straight out of the senior citizens home, we got Rios in the house. What's up, Rios?
How's it going, guys? If you're watching this, you have the same number of home runs as Jose Abreu.
And of course, friend of the show. We're always grateful to have him because he classies up our show. We got Brett Chancey, H-Town WheelHouse from Locked On Astros. What's up, Brett? How's it going, bud?
Man, going good. It's hard to find, it's hard to follow Poppy after that. I mean, I was gonna try to speak Spanish, but after that, I'm like, no comprende, senor.
It's believe me, if it makes you feel better, half of it was gibberish.
Okay.
And I think I honestly didn't catch most of it. So there you go. So we really don't understand him on a daily basis, regardless. So it's fine.
You just nod your head a lot.
You just nod your head and say
not,
yes.
Not in smile.
Not in smile. Yeah, that's right.
And avoid eye contact.
Avoid eye contact. Yeah, you don't want to look at him in the eyes. Yeah, man. So all right, we're back, Brett. So I love having you on again because I feel like with you we get to really dive in deep, about our beloved Houston Astros. So it's now towards the end of May. What are you seeing? I know you had told us by probably around May, June, we were going to start seeing the Astros climb up to the top of the division. So what do you think so far? Your predictions coming true? What do you think?
Yeah, man. I mean, it looks good. You're on a 7-game win streak as we talk right now. Their Astros are up 3-1 on the Brewers. They're taking care of Corbin Burns, who is an absolute stud on the mound. So, if they can pull this one off, they'll win their 8th in a row. I believe the Rangers have won 3 or 4 in a row, but the Rangers have really had a very weak schedule. Now, one of the things that the Rangers have done that the Astros haven't done is when they beat up on bad teams, they've scored a lot of runs. The Astros haven't done that. So in the long run, that might concern a lot of people. But for me, I just see this team as not necessarily firing on all cylinders hitting wise. Our pitching continues to be what really helps us stay in ball games. And I like where we're at. I believe what Jeff Bagwell saying on the broadcast, that Abreu is working his tail off. He's going to find it. Bregman in his last 11 games has been lighting it up. Heck, Maldonado even went deep, and he's even hitting 30 or 40 points higher than his season average the last 10 games. So, baseball is a ebb and flow thing. Baseball is a marathon. It's not a sprint. This team is conditioned, I think, for the long run, for the long haul. You should see the Astros on top of the AL West by, I believe, the first week in June, no later than that.
Okay. So it looks like the biggest questions on the Astros right now is their health.
Right.
It has been the thing that has been us in the butt for most of the season. Do you think this is as worse as it gets?
I would like to think so, because you have been without McCullers. You just got Altuve back. You're still without Brantley. You lose Garcia and Urquidy, and you're still on pace to win around 91 games. I mean, how many ball clubs can take that many hits and still sustain an expectation of 90 to 91 win season? Right. There's not any. And I believe a lot of these injuries you're going to see get moved out of the way. They're going to get healthy. I even heard some hope from Dana Brown saying that the swelling's gone down in Brantley's shoulder. So it sounds like he's going to start swinging a bat again. That's a far cry from he's out indefinitely. So right. I think if you can get Brantley on the field and you get 80% Brantley and you can get him in, heck, 2 out of every 4 games, that's better than not having him at all, because his presence, I think, is important as well. So he's kind of like a third hitting coach in that dugout.
So let me ask you, I know that a little earlier you mentioned that what the Rangers have done is, they've scored more runs against bad teams. Let's go back really quick to the Oakland A's series. Did you expect do you feel, I mean, I'm glad that we won the series, of course. That's a win's a win. However, how do you feel about the Astros not scoring as many runs as, one might seem against?
I just think that's where they are offensively right now. Outside of Jordan and Tucker, who are basically scoring about 75 to 80% of their runs, you're not getting enough consistency. Like you'll get the 5-run outpoint and then you'll win 3-2 and 2-0, which, yeah, you're right. A win is a win, right? Whether it's 1-0 or 10-0. But when you look at the run differential, the Rangers are plus 108. The only team better than them in the American League is Tampa at plus 124. Both played bad teams, but we played bad teams. We're only plus 38. So we have surrendered almost as many runs as we've given up. And you would like to see that plus 38 go to about 50 or 60. And you're going to start seeing that number from the Rangers, I think, shrink over time, because as their schedule gets tougher, I think they're going to start giving up a lot more runs than they've been giving up. But to this point, you got to hand it to them. Nathan Eovaldi has been nails. Heaney has been nails. Adolis Garcia is hitting like he knows how to hit, rather than a home run every 20 at bats or whatever he usually does. And so you got to tip your hat to the Rangers. I just think that the Astros this last weekend, it was a little disappointing. I really expected them to stick it to the A's, score 8, 9, 10 runs and send the Las Vegas low blinds into the sunset.
I mentioned like it was crazy how Altuve, he had his rehab assignment before the A's, and then he continued his rehab assignment with the A's.
Against the A's.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're just trying to punish that ball club, but they handled him pretty nicely. But look, his timing, obviously, he gets a rest day when they go up to Milwaukee, which is fine with me. You don't need to have him hit the cover off the ball, a double here, a single there. You're going to see him connect for some home runs. He's hitting with power, I think, in BP, and so that's a good sign. But it's great to have Jose Altuve back. I know when he came back, it was almost like we just came out of purgatory, baseball-wise, just because it was like, oh, my God, the GOAT is back. So I think that's good not only for the fans, but, for the team as well.
It's awesome to see. I was at the game when he came back, and we didn't get the notification till we were on our way to the stadium. It was like, Altuve is back. Okay, bet. Every time he went up to bat, the whole stadium, everybody got up on their feet, like cheer. Like, even though he didn't do jack shit during that game, but
hey,
it's good to have him back. And like you said, he's gonna get back into the rhythm. I feel like the biggest question now presents itself: what happens with Mauricio Dubon? Because he's been in a hot streak for the past few months. He's been our most consistent hitter, even though Jordan and Tucker hit the home runs and scored all the runs. A lot of it doesn't happen without Dubon getting on base as much as he does.
I mean, he's playing tonight, right, Dubon?
He is. Yeah. He is moving off. He's actually started the game 0-for-2, but your top 5 hitters don't have a hit. Dubon through Tucker, and you have Abreu with 1 and Julks with he's 2-for-2. So, and then of course Martin Maldonado, as I call him, Martin Bombdonado, whenever he hits a home run over the fence. This is what's interesting about Martin. When the dude barrels up a ball, the ball does not stand a chance to stay in the park. Like, there are some guys that can barrel up a baseball and it'll just fly to an outfielder's glove. When he connects, it's a no doubter. You don't have Martin hit these like, maybe it could have gone over in 10 ballparks. No, his home runs are ballparks in all 30 for the most part.
Right.
I mean, he hit second deck tonight in Milwaukee. So for all the crap that he takes and all the just the hate that he takes,
I know
Martin goes out there and grinds, and he's a professional, and he is the general of this team when it comes to being on the field.
And I don't even know why he gets so much hate, because even defensively, he's pretty solid as well.
Yeah, he does. And look, this is the beauty of baseball, and this is the beauty of like baseball fandom is like you and I, all 4 of us, can have 4 different perspectives on one single hit, right? I mean, we can say, I can say, that was a really good at bat. He took that pitch. You could say, well, he missed the first pitch that he got and he should have had a home run up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can dissect it. And where I think you get out of the fun category and into the bickering is when people start saying, this is what is true and you must believe it. And in baseball, there's 5 different ways to dissect this one play. And that's what I love about it. I can come on here with you guys and we can all have different opinions. We don't have to agree on everything, but the goal is the same. We want the Astros to be successful.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of hate on Martin Maldonado, and I get it because I think most people expect him to be a guy that goes up at bat and gives you some hits, gets you some home runs or whatever, just like a regular batter. But like you got to understand that Martin Maldonado is there as a leader, number one, and number two,
Defense.
he's a commando, like you said, he's the main guy. But you have to really see it behind, you have to see it from the standpoint of he's the leader. He's basically the leader of the team, right? I don't really see anybody else.
Yeah.
He's basically the leader of the team. He keeps it together. He helps out with guys like Frommer. He's essential to guys like Frommer. He's essential to to all these other pitchers. Like he does a lot. It's almost like he does a lot of things behind the scenes that he doesn't get enough credit for.
He was Verlander's number one choice.
Right.
Like,
Verlander, he leads the team meetings. He breaks down the scouting report. Ryan Senix even said it to me that he puts more time and effort into prepping for a game. And, it's funny whenever you bring that up, people are like, well, but he can do that from the bench. And I'm like, clearly, if he could do that from the bench, the Astros would have him do that from the bench.
Correct.
And they would let Diaz go out there and get, Diaz has gotten about half as many starts. I think he's got 15 to Martin Maldonado's like 30 something, right? So he's got about half the playing time. It looks like he's getting a 10th of the playing time. But Dusty did say a couple weeks ago, in a few weeks, and I know we're going to go on a stretch. We have 26 games in 26 days or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Diaz will have plenty of opportunities because his pop time is there. His arm speed is there. He's got some peripherals as a catcher that you definitely want in the game.
Right.
But you have to go with what the analytics tell the Astros, not what you like or how you feel about it. Because at the end of the day, I promise you, Dusty's not looking at my Twitter account going, I wonder what TheWheelHouse thinks of my game strategy.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Right. He's listening to us right now.
He is.
No, we're recording.
They're like, Dusty, do we need to get someone in the pen? Hey, hold up. I'm listening to Just Fans.
Yeah. Like, hold on. I don't know what the Just Fans guys are.
Let's see what Astros fan
can understand.
Right.
They're talking about trading my colors again. Okay.
Yeah.
Put that on that. Put that on the to-do list.
He's like, look, man, I don't know, but Poppy's spitting some mad verses on there.
Bars,
mad bars.
You have to get the Astros translator to get them.
Altuve, right? What did they say?
I could be the Astros translator, bro.
You could. Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna lie, though.
I have a question about that, guys. I have a question about that.
Yeah, go for it.
Man, Framber Valdez or Yordan Alvarez will say about like 2 paragraphs, and that dude responds with like 6 words. Oh yeah, Yordan said he'd like to take the ball.
Yeah. I was like,
I'm like, man, bro, you cut that dude short.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, Carlos.
Or is that a true like?
Let's do our own rendition, okay? I'm gonna be.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be Jordan after winning the game, and you can translate what I say.
Okay. You're the translator.
All right. Rios, ask me a question.
All right, Jordan, how did you feel hitting that last home run?
Bueno, mira, es que cuando estaba en la base llena y llevo todo el juego pensando, tú sabes, ¿no? Le pegó la pelota y mucha fuerza, tú sabes. Y me comí una bandeja de mondongo esta semana y dije, coño, ¿sabes qué es lo que voy a hacer? Miré al pitcher a los ojos y le dije, mira, bon, tírame esa vaina por el medio y te la saco. Y se la saqué. ¿Tú querías plátano? Toma plátano.
Wow. He basically said when he said, "Oh yeah, I focused a lot on the ball. Then I ate some mondongo. Is that correct?" And then he said, I scored a homer. I ate some mondongo, and then finally I looked at him in the eye. I looked at that fool in the eye, for lack of better words. And then I said, "I'm going to give it to you," and I did. I gave it to him.
There you go. Okay. So there is a little bit of a shortening
condensation.
I love to see the dude's eye, like the guy who's listening to the player talking before he answers. I just look that brief second where they have to translate everything, and I just like, I know you redacted 90% of that.
Yeah,
I'm about to say there's no way he said yes. No. I love being in this game tonight. Like, no, he said a lot more than that.
No. He every time we see him, like my girlfriend and I, we look at the post game interviews, like when Julio Morales goes up to like Frommer. I think it was like when he went 9 innings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like,
did we just score? What happened?
Yeah.
Really? Was it a homer? I didn't see nobody get on base.
It was our boy DeBon.
Yeah,
oh really?
Homer, deep left center, 426.
What?
Dubon, he heard me
See,
talking
we
about
we
him.
were just talking about Dubon
We were just
being
talking about him. He's
0
getting
for
a live
2,
feed
and
into the
yeah.
Just fans thing
That's
right
right.
now. That's what's happening.
He's
Yeah,
like, those are my guys. I gotta prove them
those are
wrong.
the guys. You know what? I'm gonna get them. Those are my guys right there. Yeah.
He's like,
So,
what is this guy's name? Mauricio. I got you, fam. I got you.
yeah, right. One of them has my first name. No, yeah, no, dude. Like every time we see him, like exactly, like right after Julia Morales like interviewed Frommer, me and my girlfriend were just sitting on the couch watching this thing, and we're like, that dude just like translated maybe like 20% of that whole question that he asked. I'm like, he took away so much of that. He's like, basically, he's like, yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be part of this. All right, let's go. Kind of a thing. Like, okay,
I'm telling you, I could be the translator.
yeah,
Hell
anybody
yeah.
can be the translator.
Well, see, I've also heard because we didn't get. Now I was literally. I had Jordan hit a home run.
Jordan just went deep,
You're kidding
Nice.
me.
deep
Well,
into
here's the
right
deal,
field.
back to back.
Wow.
Well, hey, well, look, here's the deal. We had an interview lined up with Framber Valdez. We were going to do it live with him in person at his hotel.
I'll translate,
room,
brother. I'll
all that
translate.
stuff.
You get me in there. I'll translate.
So his agent had a translator, everything lined up for us. His flight got delayed coming into Houston. He was coming in for a TriStar show, and so we didn't get it. But a friend of mine was telling me, who does translation, she says, keep your questions short. She said a lot of times you'll watch the TV and they will try to ask a really long question, almost like they're talking to someone who speaks English. Like, okay, take me back through the first inning when you hit that 2-1 pitch out. What were you thinking? What did you see? They were like, that's too much. Just say you hit the home run in the first inning. What was it about the at-bat that you liked?
Right.
And she goes, leave it simple, because then what's going to happen is the interpreter is going to have an easier time because the interpreter's got to translate what you got. Then the player has got to process what they want to answer you. And if you're doing time and all that stuff and you're trying to get in so much time, you're going to spend all your time between the questions and not getting any answers. Because if you leave the question shorter, the player will respond shorter as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so
yeah,
one
exactly.
of the days I get that interview.
Yeah, I do that. So I've done those before, and in our type of meetings, because you and I do the same thing. But in our type of meetings, when I have to translate for like a parent or something like that, I have to do the same thing. I have to wait. I have to wait. Very, the thing is, on ours is more like verbatim than anything, but still, it's like it's a little. So I know the translating. So it's always funny seeing that on TV, and I'm like, maybe they're just trying to keep it short. You know what I mean? Like, because that's probably where it is. He's probably told, let's try to keep it short, and so that's probably why.
Another childhood question I had growing up, y'all could probably help me with.
Yeah,
I never understood why on the Spanish channel I would be watching a McDonald's commercial and they would say "Con Big Mac." I'm like, is there not a Spanish word for Big Mac? And I guess there wasn't.
There really isn't, but if you think about it, it's like they're trying to sell the word Big Mac.
I mean,
exactly.
No matter what language. There is words for it, but
it's Big Mac.
Shut up.
El
Big Mac, eh?
Big Mac.
Let me know Big Mac, hombre. No, it's basically
days, man.
It's Big Mac, but they're trying. They're kind of like a corporate thing. They're trying to sell you on the word Big Mac. Like that's
it's all branding, basically.
It's all branding, yeah. So they're trying to sell you Big Mac, no matter what language.
As a young Houstonian, I didn't know that growing up. I just was like, oh, there's not a. I thought Spanish had a word for everything, but then again, I didn't think like a marketer at the age of 7.
Yeah. How dare you not think of like a corporate?
That was all
no. I mean, there's words, but some words in English don't actually translate to Spanish. You have to kind of make what's due, So
and vice versa. We have some words in Spanish that
they don't translate to English
at
either.
all. Yeah,
so
it's hard to explain.
So look, here's the deal. So tonight, Dubon hits a home run, Alvarez hits a home run, Tucker strikes out again.
Abreu with 2 hits.
So Abreu's got 2 hits. So Tucker struck out twice. I don't think Tucker's seen the ball well out of Corbin's hand.
Man, and that breaking ball is nasty for Tucker.
And that's what Bagwell was saying. He said it's called a cutter, but the way it breaks and cuts, it's more like a slider.
It looks like
it breaks so hard off, out of the plate. And he said, I'm always selling out on the outer half of the plate when a guy throws a slider or a cutter. So I'm always expecting that pitch to be on that spot. So that way, when he hangs it, I can pull it. And just some great insight from Jeff Bagwell tonight.
Yeah, how do you like? We were talking a little bit off camera, and I actually do like him. He's pretty informative when it comes to like his commentating. I know Blum is out right now for a little bit, but I do like it when Jeff Bagwell's up there on commentating. Man, it's very informative.
He's crisp. He knows what he's talking about. I remember there was a guy, and I don't even think he's on Twitter anymore, but he was such a baseball savant that he would abhor the times when Bagwell was commenting because he would claim Jeff Bagwell doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'm like, he's literally in the Hall of Fame. And he's like, this guy doesn't know baseball. And I'm like, he literally had a major league career. You did not. Like, you didn't even play high school ball. Now, I didn't either, but I don't comment on baseball stuff I'm like, how can you tell a major league player like they don't know what they're talking about? Just because
like you don't know ball
analytics. Like, dude, you don't know ball like that. But Bagwell sees it. Bagwell, you know, he processes it differently. And Todd Callis did say this tonight. He said, well, Bagwell, we know you're not always super fond of our analytical breakdowns. He goes, no. He goes, that's not it. He said, but there's more to one side of baseball, and you have to look at the whole picture. So Bagwell's tried to really deflect that. He's tried to say, look, I've never said I hate analytics. I just said you don't want to lean on it so much that you miss a guy that you have a gut feeling about, that you see a guy, and sometimes seeing a guy and watching a guy perform, you get a feeling about a guy. And that's almost as solid as what's his expected batting average when he hits a ball.
Yeah, we had I don't know if you're familiar with Glenn Davis, voice of the Houston Dynamo. Glenn Davis, we had him on our show. It was a great episode. And we were talking a little bit about that because they're doing a lot of that in soccer now over there in MLS. They're starting to use a lot of analytics and stuff like that. And it's like, and we were talking about it, and we said, yeah, it's almost like they're using like what they do in baseball over now in MLS to see who's better at what and all this stuff, instead of like I guess like what Bagwell does by experience, and so I don't think he was too fond of it either.
Well, I would think in soccer, because look, I'm not an avid soccer fan,
right?
But I would think in soccer it would have a lot more to do with your opponent and how they defend you when you have the ball, versus you can analyze if a guy gets a certain spin rate off his foot and can bend the ball into the right corner, stuff like that. But it seems to me like soccer would be more dependent on how do you break through the defense that someone throws at you, versus, I mean, there's only so many people that can kick it from 40 yards out like Messi or Ronaldo, the greats, and really put it in the back of the net. So I don't know. That just to me seems like it's more of a pure skill thing than an analytical thing.
Right.
You can't put numbers into things, but in soccer, because the game it's so free flowing. It's not like, every at bat is a different scenario type of thing. In the game, you have so many variables that affect it all at the same time. You can put some numbers in it, but you really have to dissect it, and you can really geek out about it. But it's a rabbit hole where, like, once you're in there, man, you're stuck. You're stuck there. I feel like it takes the fun of it sometimes while watching it. With baseball, because it's so stop and go, you can take the time to look at statistics and try to predict the outcomes of stuff. But with soccer, I feel like it's a little bit more difficult. Same with like basketball, because basketball is so like back and forth. You can look at analytics for sure to see how effective a player is in a particular scenario, but
shot
it's
percentage from what range,
but it's just hard to predict. It's really hard to predict through a long season, like what the final outcome is going to be. I mean, we're seeing it in the playoffs right now with Miami dominating the Celtics.
Like, who saw that?
Man, that's
absolutely nobody.
Well, here's the deal though with that. I think basketball, like you said, tries to go with analytics, but I think basketball, you just look at, like, I was my son's basketball team, I was helping coach them this weekend, and they kept selling out to the 3-ball. And I told them, look, if you drive, these guys are not very quick on their feet. If you can get them basically horizontal to you or parallel to you, then you've got the beat to the basket. And the first play that they did after I said that, our point guard laid it in, jumped over a guy because he can sky out of the gym and got a layup. And then we came back. Now we ended up losing. I think some of that had to do with the refs, but a lot of that had to do with we kept trying to sell out to the 3-ball. And I was like, guys, that's not the high. Right now, you're not in rhythm. If you're in rhythm, shoot it all day. But if it's not working, pump fake that ball, drive in, get a higher percentage shot. And so it is a lot of rhythm and a lot of feel. And speaking of soccer, I'll have to go to a soccer game with you guys sometime because
for sure.
I have to admit, I've been to a couple Dynamo games. The only one I went to that I enjoyed was the very first Dynamo game when Brian Ching hit 3 headers in the goal. I think it's still an MLS record. I went to another one and it just wasn't a good game, but I need a good soccer experience. So if you guys want to help me out with that, I would love to.
We got you. We know a few people. Yeah, I know a few people that are part of like the Texian Army section. So where it gets like loud and
I would love that. I would totally go into it.
Yeah, I could probably not do something over there. So
we'll see.
Poppy experienced that firsthand the first time I ever took him, right, Poppy?
Yeah, man. I almost. Oh shit! Did we just? Okay, foul ball. Oh, that was close.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I got drunk off my ass. So.
I mean, we're not gonna get you there, right? But it's just.
I'll be your driver. Okay.
There you go. Let's go.
I'll be your designated driver.
Yeah, drops us off in Dallas just to mess with us.
I'll be like, hey guys.
No, it was a fun experience. The first time I took Poppy, he had a great time. So I think, I think it all depends on where you go. So I know in the summer they have who's coming? Is it Manchester United and Real Madrid? Right now, of course, it's a pregame. Yeah, it's a pregame here at NRG. It's a pregame. Yeah, Rios and I went to it. When it came back in 2017, I think.
No, it was 2018.
2018. Sorry. We went to it and it was pretty fun. I like to say it was pretty fun, but it's very different than.
Do they play the starters or?
They do for a little bit. Yeah, I think like first half, right, Rios? Like the first half.
Just the first half, and then they played the reserves and all that. But it's still like it's a different experience because you could tell like the different level of class from European soccer to MLS. It's
you'll get to see you'll get to see actual really good plays. I don't like to bring down the MLS, but it's not. It's not.
But in the MLS's defense, they haven't been able to pull over the stars. They can't. They haven't been able to sign those massive contracts for the super, and that's they're gonna go where the money is. And
it's gonna be a while, but I think eventually they will get there. But it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while.
A lot has to change. Really,
a lot has to change in order for that to happen.
Main thing is that pay for play, man. That's my personal. That's what's killing soccer in the U.S. Like, who's gonna be better? The kid on Hillcroft versus little Timmy whose parents paid $3,000 to go to this academy, but he's not that good, but he paid to be there.
It's about
the kid who can't afford to be there.
It's basically natural talent and how you can develop this young kid or the person that's actually paying the $3,000 to be there. Most likely not going to make it.
Look at the best players in the world. Like Messi didn't come for money. Ronaldo didn't come for money. Neymar didn't come for money. Like none of these kids came for money.
They were just little kids playing in their neighborhood yards, on the street.
But yeah, for sure, man. But next time we go to a game, we'll let we'll let you know.
Loop me in, and I'll be all orange, and I'll wear my orange and black or whatever.
There you go. Yeah, definitely. It'll probably have to be like a night game because those day games are going to be.
Muy caliente.
Yeah.
Going back to the Astros a little bit. So this is something that I hadn't mentioned to the guys, but it was something that it was in the back of my mind. Peña. Being so down in the batting order, right? I think right now he's batting like six or seven, like right after Abreu. What do we think about that? Do we like him there? Are we gonna see him there, like for the rest of the year, type of thing? Like,
I think once he's out of the slump, he'll go higher in the order. Right now he's struggling a little bit, so he's where he should be right now.
Well, I think he hit really good in the 7-hole, if I remember correctly.
I think so too, man.
And I'm still of the belief that it's not about where you hit, It's about what you do with the opportunity to hit. Now,
Yeah.
of course, in Major League Baseball, it's a little bit more difficult because the pitchers have a game plan. They have a specific game. They have a plan and they have a counter plan and they have a counter to the counter plan, right? Like they have 3 or 4 plans for each batter and how they're going to attack them. I think Jeremy Pena was pressing too much last year, going right before he got hot in the playoffs. And they talked to him about that, and they said, "Look, this is what you got to do. You're too concerned about missing a hanging slider that you're swinging at every slider coming your way." And he adjusted. And he ALCS and in World Series MVP. Just look at the adjustments they've made with the other hitters. Jake Myers, since his leg kick. I mean, how well he's hit the ball. These hitters, look, Abreu was out there 4 hours before the game today taking BP. That guy's putting in work.
Yeah.
Pena, I know, is putting in more work than what a lot of people see. And I just have faith that he'll come back eventually. I don't think he'll ever be back at second because with Altuve now, you're going to have Bregman second. I don't think they'll ever drop Bregman to the 7 hole. But there's an interesting article, and I'm probably going to try to do a show on it pretty soon, where Fangraphs analyzes. They take fictitious batters 1 through 9, and they say, okay, they give you 3 lineups. And they basically show this almost zero-sum game where there's one lineup that was optimal for pretty much almost all the hitters, but it really didn't make a massive difference in the long run, okay? So a lot of it has to do with mentality too. I think between the ears, Pena feels the pressure and he presses, but Altuve feels the pressure and he presses.
Right.
And so he's just going to have to work through it. I think Pena is fine at 6 or 7. Abreu Pena Jolks is not a bad little order.
It's not, and
at
that's
all.
I like
Not
it.
at all.
I like it because
It's a good problem to have.
If you look at the postseason last year, one of our biggest weaknesses was that big gaping hole of an offense that we have.
7 through 9.
Yeah, 7 through 9 was like non-existent. It was like Diaz, Mancini, Maldi, obviously. So
Like after Yuli was when it started. I remember that.
yeah, right after Yuli. Yuli gets on
Yeah.
base and then we leave him there, type of thing.
And then it was
So-
basically automatic outs at that point.
Yeah.
So I feel like him staying that low, like you said, I don't think he needs to be a second to be effective. I don't think he needs to be a third to be effective. We already have batters there. Especially if you were to, like, let's say, add, Dubon to a lineup with Altuve in it as well.
Yeah, I would have, I know they put Jordan at DH, and they probably didn't put Jordan in left field because of all the fly balls Javier gives up. But it would have been interesting to see Dubon lead off at second base, and then Jose Altuve batting second at DH.
Yeah.
Would have been a really interesting lineup because you got 2 bats Dubon doesn't have power, but you have 2 bats that can contact. You got 2 speed guys on. And then if you put Bregman, Alvarez, and Tucker behind that,
it's crazy. I thought about that too. I was like, what if Dubon was like at the top, and then you had Altuve behind him, and then you had all the guys coming in. I was like, dude, that is scary.
And then what if you had Brantley in there as well?
Yeah, and then add
Brantley in there. Good Lord.
Damn, what happens to Abreu at that point?
Jeez Louise.
Well, there was pictures and stuff like that. They were trying to get Dubon to try out for first base. Y'all saw that? I don't know if you saw those going on.
That, yeah.
Yeah.
How does that make y'all feel about that? Like having them go into first? I
think it's an emergency type thing. I think
Right,
it's
okay.
if Abreu goes down, I think that's a worst case scenario. He's not played a single game at first base in a major. He's not played a single major league game. Yanner Diaz has. David Hensley, he's not up anymore.
Yeah.
Abreu has been a bit inconsistent at times defensively at first base.
Yeah.
Which is like maybe the reason as to why, maybe we can give him a few days break or whatever from having to do that. Maybe he could do.
Yeah,
DH.
I wouldn't mind DHing Abreu
Yeah.
keep his bat in the lineup, to keep him, because it's like Bagwell said, he's got to grind. And he came here. He's got different scenery, different teammates. He's trust me, he's hating his slump more than the fans hate it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I hate it more.
Do you?
Oh, Maldi with
mean,
another hit. Let's go.
The spirit of Babe Ruth.
Dude, Molly's killing it.
He is, man.
I'm just waiting to see like how many people talk trash about him on Twitter after today.
Oh,
They
no,
still
I'll
they'll
go
find
on
something.
there, and I'll be called like the Astros cult president because I support Maldonado, and then they'll flash stats at me. Well, the Astros are 17-50 in Maldonado, and they're 7-1 with. I'm like, just stop, just like. I just have stopped having that conversation because when I say I've literally interviewed actual pitchers, actual coaches, I've interviewed people in the organization, and this is what they've told me. And they dismiss it like, oh, no, that they're just saying that.
Well, because the analytic part is just half of it. It's not the whole picture.
Yeah, it's like, no, just because you don't like a guy doesn't mean, and, I don't know, like, people can be fake GMs all they want, but at some time you have to have a level-headed approach to it. Like me, trust me, I say stuff or I make comments, I analyze stuff, I break something down, and sometimes I'm completely wrong, but I'm totally willing to go back and say, you know what, when I said this, I was wrong. And I try to correct the record. I'm never good enough. I'm never so good that I can't say where I've faltered or gone off track a little bit because I don't know it all. And people that act like they know it all, that's all you need to know. Yeah. That's all you need to know about that.
I'm never wrong. I was just kidding.
I like how like Brad almost spit out his water.
Yeah, this is not vodka. This is water.
I'm never wrong. If you think I'm wrong, it's because I was just kidding.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
people complain about Maldi. Remember, Maldi got us one of these.
Yeah. Hey, Rio.
Hey, man. That's all.
That's your time.
All that matters.
All right, Rio, isn't it your time, real quick?
Yes, it is.
All right, hold on. This is we're like 7 minutes over, but whatever. Rio's is beer of the week, y'all.
What happened?
I had to do it.
Why'd you do that?
Stop.
Stop. Let him be. Let's not be immature.
Rios,
put that away.
Okay.
All right.
Man.
I'm sorry. But bases are loaded, by the way.
No thanks to you. Piece of shit.
All right, go ahead.
Alrighty, so this week let me start with this. So I was on Facebook earlier at work, and I had popped up
surprise of no one.
This ad popped up from some beer from like an island or something like that. I was like, okay. So I went to Specs looking for it. I couldn't find it, but I did find something similar. We have an island, Galveston Island. So this one is Galveston Tiki Wheat. So advertising works.
That's a good one.
It's refreshing, but it's not really my personal favorite.
Is that the Tiki Wheat? Is that you said?
Yeah, Tiki
Wheat. Reminds me a little bit of Blue Moon.
Oh, is it like Blue Moon?
It's pretty similar. It's a little bit not as crisp as Blue Moon. It's a little bit more sour than Blue Moon, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
How many Jake Myers out of 5?
Oh, Brady.
I'm gonna go 7.
Wow.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Out of how many?
Out of 5. Okay, whatever.
7 out of 10.
Okay,
7 out of 10. Okay.
I said how many out of 5, and you're like, oh, 7.
He's like 7. Like
7
takes the
yeah,
take.
give me some of that then. Shit.
Wow, you're usually over here like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. This one you gave it a 7.
We are killing the Brewers.
I keep it real. Gonna say.
We were just talking how. Sorry. We were just talking about how we're not scoring a lot of runs, and right now we're just.
Dude, they are taking it to us. Bregman singled, which means bases are still loaded, and there's still only one out. And
one out, yeah.
And pitcher again, yeah.
And who's your daddy?
It's the live feed that they're getting right now over there at the stadium.
Dude, Dusty's
I'm telling you. Yeah, Dusty was like, "Hey, those
I don't
guys
know if I can do this every game, but if
this is what it takes to repeat
for posterity,
we will do 5 shows in a week if this is what it takes with Brett on them. So
you'd be like Locked On Just Fans podcast.
Locked On Fans. There you go.
There you go. Hey man,
my liver's up for it.
You might like the idea.
Yeah, there you go. Locked On Fans, like
we're just locked fans.
Locked On fans. Locked fans. Oh, that sounds weird. Never mind.
It's like, I
Locked.
don't know. Speaking of locked, I don't know if y'all saw someone had taken a picture of this. It was another truck. I won't mention the one before we went on air.
Right. Yeah.
It was these people
Right.
moving, and it had like a baby carriage. It had a suitcase, and then it had this headboard, right? And on the corner of the headboard was like handcuffs.
Oh,
And
my
they're
God.
like, when you see it, say something.
Oh,
Like, come on, man, you can't be traveling with that on your freaking.
I'm telling
That's got to be a setup, right? That's got to be a
you.
joke.
Yeah. It's just to
no,
see what's
it's
going on.
funny. So I work in the auto industry. So my one of the guys that buys the cars for the auction, like he'll send me pictures of some stuff he sees. Like, oh my god, like some of the stuff people put on their vehicles is you're just like,
Do you not have any self-respect, sir? Like,
none.
Are you not embarrassed?
yeah. Like, you
Absolutely
really go
not.
out there-
Apparently,
Yeah.
like they, get up, take a shower, get dressed, go to work, and have this abomination on their vehicle. Like, why?
Yeah.
For real.
Brings down the car value.
It-
Yeah.
I bet
Oh
it
man.
does.
So yeah, going back to the runs, man. Like we're scoring now. I'm telling you, this is the reason why they're getting a live feed. They're
Oh
like, you
my
know what?
gosh.
Dusty Baker told
Guess
them.
what? Jordan Alvarez just hit a grand slam.
You're kidding.
Oh,
No way.
Just hit a grand slam.
I'm behind. I'm behind.
I'm
Did
so
he really, or
behind.
just messing with me?
he did. He did.
No, I'm not. I'm not kidding you.
10-1 right now.
Oh my God! You're not.
Dude, why? I'm watching some like highlights of other
I know. I'm
hits.
watching Jordan highlights right now.
Wow.
Hold on, are you saying?
Wow.
Hold on.
Dude,
I'm not- I haven't
AT&T
seen it. I'm
Sportsnet
behind.
can suck it.
That is insane.
Boom! What a
He
ball.
sent that ball. He sent that ball to Green Bay.
Is there any way I can share my screen?
Boom! Oh my
Yeah,
God! I
on
just
the
saw it
side.
right
I don't know
now.
if you could. We could, but I don't know if you could.
You can't. I think you can.
Oh man, because
but
I have
if it
because
doesn't, just be careful because if you do, I think YouTube kind of takes it out. When it
Oh,
gets
really?
uploaded. Yeah. All the
Showing
like
the
the
game, yeah.
filters it has. Like I don't even play music or anything.
and then another hit, excuse me, and play no outs. Kyle
Jeez.
Tucker. Kyle Tucker gets on the board.
Jordan
what
with
channel are
a
you on,
grand
bro?
slam, and then Kyle Tucker gets. Oh my! I just saw the Jordan grand slam not too long ago.
Wow.
What channel are you
Man.
watching it on?
I'm on AT&T Sportsnet, but it's behind. I think on mine.
Wait, so streaming typically is like 3 minutes behind.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting.
It's
Okay,
just
so
part
this
of
is
their
this is what's
contract.
cool, guys. I have this access, and tonight on Locked On Astros, I'm going to show. They show a graphic of the bat coming through
Yeah.
the strike zone, and the ball hitting the bat, and the ball leaving the bat. It's all graphics.
Yeah.
And dude, it is awesome. I'm going to do every home run that's on here. I'm going to do that.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna show that tonight. I'm waiting for them to download Jordan's home run. It hasn't been uploaded yet, but wow, a grand freaking slam, dude. That's insane.
Tell you
Jeez.
that man when he sees people on base, it's just
Just
Goes
licks
into-
his lips.
Like, why would you? Okay, here's
Just rubs his
the
hands.
question. Here's the question, Poppy. If you're the pitching coach and you have bases loaded and you're already down 6-1, wouldn't you rather walk Jordan and give up one run versus 4 or 3 or 2?
the thing.
well. The thing is, you have Kyle Tucker right after.
you have
like,
Kyle Tucker right after, right?
That's true. That's true.
So,
Yeah,
so I feel like the idea is you're gonna have to strike out one of these dudes, or go for the double
Right.
play. Now Jordan
True.
doesn't give you a lot of double play. He'll put the ball in the sky,
Yeah.
right? Same
Right.
with Kyle Tucker, really. So like you either gamble because they just got a new pitcher. Like the guy, it was just a brand new pitcher from the bullpen.
At
You
this point,
gamble
all you gotta
that
do
this
is
guy's gonna take him
you
out.
pray. At this point, like
At this point,
all you
I've
can
learned
do.
not to throw a lefty at him. At this point,
If you throw a lefty at him, it's go ahead and just put the runs on the board because
But
it's
I would-
guaranteed home run.
I would just get any pitcher who could just throw me like low fastballs, dude. Just as slow to the ground as you can. Get him to chase. Don't throw any breaking balls because he will break the hell out of that ball.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
with Jordan, he's disciplined at the plate. He doesn't chase. That's the for
So
a guy that's
I
hits
think
from
it's
power.
because
He
he's
doesn't
so
chase.
tall and like
So
he
Jordan
does-
hit that ball. He hit that ball 110 miles an hour off the bat, the hardest hit ball tonight. He hit it for 425 feet.
Damn.
Oh, my,
425 feet.
that's halfway to Milwaukee right now. Tell me
Jeez
to Green Bay.
That is
Gonna let him
insane.
in May, bro. What you talking about?
Man, And then what's cool is I can look at this from the home, from the away broadcast. I can look at it from every camera in the ballpark. The first base batter side view, the pitch cam. Dude, I've got every pitch view. I've got every view of this hit from every camera angle.
Where are you seeing it from,
man.
if you don't mind me asking?
So I have a thing. I have access to MLB Press Box, and I just got access to their MLB stats research page.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, I'm geeking out. Like I want to just quit my job and just look at this website all day. This is insane.
Dude, that's amazing.
It's like baseball porn, dude. It's crazy.
Wow.
So,
nice, dude. Yeah, I definitely want to check some of that out during the summer. See what goes on. I have more time now. I got a few more, couple more weeks, man. I'm done.
we got this week and we're done, bro. We are done for the summer. I'm not doing summer school. They're like, you want to substitute for summer school? I'm like,
same. I've done it for 8 years. I'm like, nah, I'm taking it.
Oh, I did it 1 year and I had a perfect setup. My friend and I, Coach Pop, we were supposed to have 18 kids and we were going to split 9 and 9. I was going to take the reading portion for the first 2 hours and he would take the math first 2 hours and we would swap our 9 kids, right? Well, guess how many of the 18 showed up?
I want to say about less than half.
9 of the 18 showed up. Wow. So what do? The first 2 hours I taught reading, sent them to him the next 2 hours. We basically did 2 hours of summer school each and it was awesome, dude. I did reading for the first time and we talked about like the plot and the rise and all that stuff. And I used films to help them understand it. Yeah. I used Rocky. I used Star Wars. I used classics.
There you go.
Like in Star Wars, every movie has a theme, a plot, a climax, all that stuff. But the whole series is a big, a high arching plot come down to So we just use all those things and watch that. I let them create their own like rap songs. I mean, we had a blast.
Was there lightsaber battles?
Do I now? Oh no, there were not lightsaber, but no. These kids were probably it's probably not safe to give them even fake swords.
I mean,
bless their
kids
heart.
will be kids, man. Come on.
No, we can't. Sorry, kids, we can't give you swords. I apologize.
Sorry, we can't give you swords. The swords might.
We can't give you lightsabers. All right.
Right.
Yeah,
but many of them had not even seen Star Wars. Hadn't even seen Rocky.
Yeah.
But I did convince them that all Russians were communist.
If he dies, he dies.
In my eyes, Rocky 4 is how it's how the Cold War ended. Rocky ended it.
Rocky ended it.
If he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies.
Sorry, I've kind of taken us off the rails here.
No, you're good. That's what happens on our show. We just go off the rails all the time.
I mean, Rocky 4 is a classic. He ended communism.
Well, okay. So I've got a quick story. You know the speech he gives at the end of the movie, right?
Yeah.
He's like, when I came in, you didn't like me. I didn't like you neither. Like he goes to that thing. Yeah. Well, my first year, I was at Pearland Junior High South years ago. My advisory class won the dodgeball tournament. I defeated my friend Coach Pop, who had won it 2 years in a row. So I was the first one to take him out. And I was like, hey Garcia, give me the mic. Coach Garcia, he gave me the mic. And I'm like, is this thing on? I'm like, hey, when I walked in the gym, I didn't like yous. Yous didn't like me neither. But I go, but when I look around, I guess 14 against 14 is better than 500 against 500. Well, I guess really what I want to say is that if I can change, you can change, we all can change. And the kids start cheering. I'm like, my son's at home at night, still awake. I love you. And all the kids are like, oh. And as I'm doing this speech, he starts playing the Rocky theme behind me. And the teachers are going nuts. And so I get back to my classroom in my advisory class. Like, did you write that speech? I'm like, no, it's from a movie.
That's amazing.
And I saw it in the movie. Yeah. I was like, I wanted to do that ever since I saw that with my dad in the movie theater. San Jacinto Mall movie theaters where I saw it, dude.
Wow, San Jacinto Mall.
Yeah, dude. Back in the day, back before the gangs took it over.
I saw it at Sharpstown Mall.
Back before the gangs took over.
Before the gangs
Pretty
took
much.
Dude, I'm not even lying, bro. Like, I mean, dude, Sanjak Mall was the place to be. But man, when I got into high school about 92, 93, you ain't catch me in there alive or dead, man. I wouldn't touch that place. It was sad, man, because all those places we used to hang out, it just kind of went downhill, you know. Like, we need an Astroworld again. We need Astroworld. Like, why can't we have an Astroworld?
I wish I could have seen Astroworld, man.
Oh my god, dude. It was the
it
best.
I hear all the coolest stories from it.
It was like the highlight of your summer, like going to Astroworld.
Dude, you fall in love with some girl from the other side of town, like never see her again, you know, get her phone number.
It's literally long distance.
Right, like you meet up, you go all the rides together, hold hands, you know, whatever.
Yeah, dude, I fell in love with a girl from Westfield. From Westfield, she was like from the rich part of Westfield. I
like how we're just telling our good stories.
You should have pursued that, bro.
Well, I did, but her dad cut me off. Realized I wasn't like a Richie like them. So
I see.
It was kind of like Daniel and Allie, you know, when he goes to, you know,
Karate Kid.
Her dad's like, "Who's this guy?" His mom's like,
I love who he ties the 80s movies.
Dude, I can tie my whole life, like Karate Kid. I mean, all those stories basically are my story.
So, what's it like to be young? No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, I'm so freaking old.
Do you think we'll ever get another Astroworld?
No.
I just don't think we will. I just don't think.
Well, there's like a thing. I think they're talking about building some sort of like Disney thing here in Texas. I'm not sure if it's like near Houston or something.
Well, Astro, I think the thing. So what shut down Astro, there was basically every year there were shootings. This is before guns were readily available. I think now it'd be so hard to control.
Yeah, I just think honestly, where we are as a society, I think things would need to calm down quite a bit. It just to me, there's too much. There's too much random. It's like random acts of violence. It's stuff that doesn't even make sense. You know, it's like, why are y'all doing this? Like,
it's all about like you're recording this. Like this is
exactly.
Nobody that's helps out anymore. It's all about what am I going to catch on?
And mind you, this was back in the 90s when there wasn't smartphones, there wasn't social media, and this stuff was still happening.
Oh yeah, no. I mean that was like if you wore the wrong jersey to the wrong side of town. I mean, that was bad. You know, I mean. I remember I had a White Sox jersey just because I liked the whole White Sox went with the pinstripes,
right?
And I was told by certain friends like, dude, you can't wear that to Astro anymore. I'm like, why? They're like, they're gonna think you want to come back with this gang, and I'm like, really?
Wow.
Yep.
I'm like, and I hated it, but yeah, man, Astro got to where I just couldn't go anymore because it was sad.
You couldn't wear certain stuff and like.
Yeah,
especially like around like 4th of July, like you think it's fireworks? No, those are gunshots.
Yeah,
you have to play firework or gunshot. Which one is
right?
It's just sad because like that's a huge part of my childhood, and just
it was, man. It's huge. Us old dogs.
I feel like if Houston did get like another big amusement park, like a Disney or Six Flags or something like that, it would have to be outside of town, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like
it wouldn't be.
It can't be in the city. It
cannot.
Like, of all places, it'd probably be in like Porter. Because like
Porter's like, it's gonna be in Katy. Everything's gonna be in Katy now.
No, it wouldn't even be Katy, dude.
Well, if you had told me 10 years ago that Porter is as big as it is, I'd be like, man, you're kidding me. Because I guarantee all the people in Porter are like, what the hell's going on around here? Like, what's all this development stuff? No offense.
What is a Starbucks? As soon as you start seeing a Starbucks, it's going.
That's right, man.
The nicest thing we get now is Buc-ee's.
Oh, hey, dude. Buc-ee's is it, man. Buc-ee's.
I got a friend that talks about it like his church.
I mean,
well, dude, hey, wrong. you know Buc-ee's employees don't even get a discount.
Yeah, I heard about
that. They actually don't.
Well, considering what they get paid, I mean, it makes sense. They get paid very, very well.
They do.
They get
worked like dogs.
So it looks like the Disney thing that I was telling you guys about. It looks like it's going to be closer to like North Richland Hills, Texas, which is over there near Frisco, like towards.
South Oklahoma.
Yeah, South Oklahoma.
Let Dallas have it. Yeah,
they can have it.
They can have that.
Yeah, it's
mean-
not. Yeah. And then plus, I mean, like I went to Disneyland. The last time I went to Disneyland was like 06. Like Poppy was like 3. Rios was 95. And so like it was it was one of those things where
I had to think about it for a second. I'm like,
he,
oh,
Rios left right now because he has to go take his insulin shot. No, so
He has to check in with his home nurse.
he has to check. Yeah, he has to check in with the nursing home. He's like, hey, I'll be back. I'm just here with
he's
my
being
friend.
in a cup right now.
He's taking the medicine, and then he's just anyway. So yeah, I went in 2006, and I remember the lines just being super long. I was in high school as a senior, and like the lines were like long. It was still a good experience, but I'm sure by now it's even worse. Like
it is.
It
I mean,
is.
we went in my son's 14 now. We went when my son was, I don't know, 8 or 9, and that's when they first opened the new Avatar world at the Animal Kingdom, and the Night of the Banshee or whatever it's called. The ride, the line was like 7 hours, but it's like a 2-minute ride. I'm like, I'm not waiting 7 hours for 2 minutes, and it's virtual reality. It's not even really a ride.
Oh,
And they're like, but you gotta go, and I'm like, no, I don't.
no, I
No,
don't. Not for
I have
7
more
hours.
things to do. 7 hours. I could be at a bar for 7 hours. Like I could be watching a game for
It's just
I mean, if you're at a
the
bar
thing
for
is
7
with
hours,
Disney,
you
you
have
have to hit Disney in the off season. You have to hit Disney when nobody else is going, and so you have to find those off season times.
So I went to Six Flags, Fiesta, Texas. I'm sorry, I apologize. I was about to go to Six Flags, Fiesta, Texas when I took a little break to San Antonio during spring break or whatever, right? So the people that I went with, I left a little earlier, but the following day they went to Six Flags and they told me that they had to, in order for them to actually enjoy the rides, they had to buy the fast pass, which was like about almost like 120, almost 120 each. But for the fast pass, in order for them to enjoy the rides, but if they didn't, they would have had to wait about 3 hours per ride.
Wow.
That's San Antonio for you. Just the killer of joys.
At the point, yeah.
And the awful Tex-Mex.
Dude.
Very awful.
Jake Myers just hit a triple.
I see that.
Yep. I
Rake
just love
Myers.
Jake the Rake Myers.
Hustling, dude.
Jake
Hustling.
Myers is like, I will not only break my shoulder, but I will hit triples.
Yeah.
He wants the field job. He wants that job.
Bro, he wants to stay on this team. He's like, I'm not going back to Sugarland.
So look,
it's nice down there, man.
My son and I spoke with him because he was one of the first guys that I interviewed at Sugarland before they were the Space Cowboys. And I remember when I interviewed him, he had just gotten hot, and I guess about a month after I interviewed him, he made it to the major leagues. He got called up, and I remember talking to him spring training. I said, "Hey, look, Jake, I was like, how is everything? How's your shoulder? I know it's been rough coming back from shoulder surgery." He said, "Shoulder's fine." I was like, what's your confidence like? Because I know right now you're in a dogfight with Chaz. Dusty said it's nobody's center field. So like, what's your mindset? What's your approach? And it was just myself, my son, and him. There wasn't anybody else around.
Right.
He said, look, he goes, the bat feels good, or the ball feels good coming off the bat. My shoulder's getting stronger every day. I have confidence in my ability to run down anything hit at me, and I just feel like I'm in a better place than I've been in a long time.
Right.
And he said it with such confidence. He didn't pause. And I've really taken him at his word. And every time I see him do something good out there, I'm like, you know what? I remember he told me, like, I think he had his mind made up. And I really think Jake wants to be that guy. And that's what it's going to take, is who's the alpha, who's going to take over, because either Jolks or Chaz or someone is going to be on the trading block.
Right.
Someone's going to be on the trading block. That outfield is too jam-packed for them. And I think look, if Jolks has success, good for him. But he may be a trade target as well, because he is 27.
Yeah.
And so that, but you know what? If Jolks goes somewhere in a trade, he also gets a chance to probably come back and sign a big contract, kind of like what Miles Straw did.
Right.
And if a guy gets to do that, good for him. Good on him.
Good.
That's what you're really ultimately going for, is to finally have your talents pay off.
Yeah.
Secure the bag.
Do you
Yeah, exactly.
so
He
what do
deserves
you let's I don't know, I don't think we talked about it yet, but what do you see the Astros going for during the deadline?
It's got to be a pitcher.
Yeah.
Has to be.
It
Yeah.
has to be. It has to be another starting pitcher. The only question is who's going to be out of contention, who's willing to trade it, and if the person
Angels.
Otani.
is
Yeah, Otani.
Otani.
if the person is a big enough commodity, see, I don't think they can go out and get a big arm. I think you get like a mid-level 3 or 4 guy.
Yeah.
I think you get a guy that can eat innings, that has a somewhat low ERA, but it probably has a history of striking out batters, has a history of a low walk to strikeout ratio, and just go from there. But you've got to piecemeal the right pieces. Urquidy isn't going to be in that mix because he's injured. We're going to have to give up something to get something. So
Yeah.
it's probably going to be a little painful, but I don't think you'll see a Brown or someone like that. Maybe someone like a Corey Lee, maybe Justin Dearden. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to want to take. I don't know what the asking price is going to be. That's the only thing that concerns me. When you have a team that's a contender and they need something, the other team can kind of hold that hostage a little bit.
They can ask for whatever they want.
I would say, who would you like to see them go after as far as pitching goes?
Any names come to mind that you feel like would be helpful?
I at this point, I really don't think. Okay, so the Diamondbacks are 27-20 right now. I don't know. I was really kind of hoping they would be out of it. I was kind of hoping they were scrapping for 4th or 5th, but San Diego's got some good pitchers. I don't know, man. I mean, Chicago, what do they have? Cincinnati has some decent arms. Washington, I just off the top of my head, I'm looking mainly in the National League because I don't think anyone in the American League is going to trade with you.
No.
KC, people are talking about maybe getting Salvi, but I'm like, why would we carry a 4th catcher?
Right.
In the East, everybody's above 500, so you're not going to trade with anybody there.
Yeah.
I mean, Dylan Cease would be nice to go after with the White Sox, but the White Sox are going to want an arm and a leg for that.
Right.
So if you can get a Dylan Cease, that's icing on the cake, but it's going to be more like just someone. And the pitcher from Arizona slips my mind. Eflin. There's some guys out there that I think that the Diamondbacks have that we could target, and maybe with the connection with what's his name.
Brent Strom.
Yeah, with Brent Strom, maybe that helps a little because Brent Strom knows our guys too.
Yeah.
Let's see, because today they have a guy named let's see, that's Philadelphia. Sorry, I'm sitting here looking at these. Okay, that's the Phillies. I'm looking for my D-backs roster here. Yeah, they've got Gallen, who is their top strikeout guy. Merrill Kelly's having a great year, but they're not going to give up those guys, Merrill Kelly or Zach Gallen, if they're in contention. So those are the 2 guys I would go after in Arizona, but I don't know how high is the price.
How are you seeing the development of I think is it JP France or something? I can't remember his first name. France.
Yeah,
JP France.
Yeah.
So JP France, he hides the ball well. So if you look at his scouting reports, he hides the ball well, kind of like, that's why Javier, they call his baseball the invisible, because it's almost impossible seeing it like come out of his hands. The other day, I believe we were hitting the ball around or someone was hitting us around. It's like this dude just, is when JP France on the mound, he was throwing beach balls. I mean, they were hitting everything.
Yeah.
But it's because his pitch shapes are not huge. Like he averages some of the lowest vertical break of any pitcher on his breaking pitches. And I didn't know that until I kind of did a deep dive into his scouting report. So his scouting report says that as long as he's getting the invisibility or the illusion of the balls coming out of a different slot than what it really is, those barrels are going to hit that ball. When they hit, it's going to hit it hard.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't throw with a ton of velocity, and when he misses kind of center cut. So as long as he stays within himself, doesn't overthink, you notice his first innings, he's real rough, and then he settles down. if he could master that first inning and settle down within that first inning, I think you'll see a lot more success out of JP France than not. This guy grinded in the minors for 6 years. He wasn't the Astros minor league pitcher of the year for nothing. He's got a great work ethic and a great attitude. So I'm predicting that his next start is going to be a really, really good start, because I think he's going to bounce back from a rough start and back it up with something solid.
And he has a beautiful mustache as well.
He does. He does have a beautiful mustache. And, you know, it's funny. His wife didn't even like the mustache, but he's like, but now that I've got it, now that I'm known by it, I can't get rid of it. So
that's his hook.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like once you put it on a shirt, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a seller.
So that's what they need to do. Just
so I brought
back to branding.
Well, yeah, exactly. I brought his wife some extra mustaches because she had told me, because I was like, hey, are we going to do like a French Quarter section or something? And I was trying to get in touch with her, and she's like, we had a family member that forgot the mustaches, so I went and bought some, and I went and gave her a couple packs of mustaches.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, dude. So before we're about to call it shortly, just please give H-Town Wheelhouse a follow. On Twitter, please. H-Town Wheelhouse. Let me add it on there. 1 second so people can see it. H-Town Wheelhouse. Give him a follow.
Thank you.
Great content for Locked On Astros, and of course, you know, he's just a great dude overall. Like, he's a friend of the show. I'm glad that we were able to have him on our show as much as we can, of course. But as always, it's always a pleasure to have H-Town Wheelhouse with us and here and just talk baseball. It just feels
we learned so much.
Feels like we're having a good time, and and we forget how long we've been going. So, you know, I thank you so much for joining us again, man. You're always welcome, of course, anytime, whenever you want to come on. And you never say no to us. You never say no to us.
Hey, man, look, as long as I'm available, I am, you know, I'm Johnny on the spot. I'm Mr. Reliable. So, and look, I admire what you guys do. You know, I love the action you guys get online on Twitter. I know you guys get a lot of love on retweets and stuff. That says a lot about your brand that you're building. And anytime I get a chance to talk about this podcast, I'm like, hey, look, there's another local podcast, and you check out Just Fans Podcast. These dudes are like what H-Town is all about. And so I think you guys represent the city really well, and you guys have great knowledge too. So don't ever sell yourself short. If y'all are listening to this for the first time and y'all want to know about pretty much anything, you know, where my show's one dimensional, where it's locked on Astros, these guys are locked on everything Houston sports. So just make sure you check them out.
We got to call it Locked On Houston now from now on.
Yeah, right. Watch out, David might come after you.
Right, I know, right? Never mind. I was kidding.
Lawyers employed.
Right out of nowhere. Speaking of, I've been watching like Better Call Saul, so I'm like hooked on it right now.
Right.
That is a good show, man. It's a very slow burn, but man, we get to that end. Chef kiss.
It is a good show. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was looking at Jake Myers right now. Like, it was like a close up of his face when he ran through the base. I'm like, oh my god, he looks like if you watch Better Call Saul, he looks like a really young version of Chuck, which is Jimmy McGill's brother.
There you go.
Like a really young version of it.
Oh my! I never thought about that.
Think about it.
Dude, you're right. Oh,
that's funny.
Yeah. All right, that's gonna be our show for tonight. H-Town Wheelhouse, thank you for joining us. Don't go just yet, really quick. But we're gonna end the show on this. Thank you again. We'll see y'all for our edition of It's Live Saturday night. That'll be live this week. So we'll see y'all later.
On Saturday.
Peace. On Saturday. Peace. See y'all.